Keep your eye on the front sight. As it goes bang, it's going to come up, and then I want you to let it settle back down.
On any given day at the Pima Pistol Range, you'll find the well-armed woman group sighting in pistols, shooting targets, and sharing laughs. Women between the ages of 20 and 70, all gun owners who have varied levels of comfort with firearms. Today's class is a first for Eloisa Jones.
I feel like I need to educate myself on more knowing how to handle my gun, and rules, safetiness is the main purpose. I want to be safe when I handle my gun.
Stand by.
Her husband bought her the gun and a concealed carry purse. Her family target shoots for fun, but she's never felt quite right.
You just don't grab it and go and shoot. You need to be aware of so many things before you even touch a gun, which that's the important thing that I want to learn.
So here, Jones is getting the basics.
Grip, sight picture, and follow through, basically.
If there's people that have a gun for self-protection and they don't know how to use it, then it's pointless. So this has taught me that the more you learn, the more relaxed you feel about it, the more secure and safe you feel about using a gun.
No, I see after the shot goes off, you're going, whoop. I don't know why you're doing that.
Getting students ready is instructor Terry Keefe.
I think it's a lot of a variety of things. I think the number one reason is self-protection. When I grew up, I relied on my dad and my brothers to keep me safe. And then when I got married, I relied on my husband to be there, if there was an emergency. But sadly, I was a victim of a crime. And when it happened at my house, it was just me. That's my personal reason. And I said from that day forward, I'm never going to be that vulnerable. Beautiful.
It's also about empowering women, and not just with a firearm.
You don't have to have a gun. So, this is just one piece of the puzzle for what I teach. I teach Refuse to be a Victim, which is a classroom discussion. No firearms, no self-defense. And it teaches women and men how to create very easy layers of safety in their life to hopefully prevent a criminal encounter. So, you'll hear this over and over, be aware of your surroundings. Firearms ownership isn't for everybody. It wasn't anything that I wanted to get involved in for a long time. There's non-lethal things like pepper gel, pepper spray, personal alarms, and I teach that class as well. So it's a personal choice.
Some people might say it's because of the way the environment is changing. We have more mass shootings than we ever had. Is that what's behind it?
I think people are feeling vulnerable. I think women especially are feeling vulnerable. And I think in the recently, you're seeing a change in women taking responsibility for it. They're realizing that when they need somebody, they may not be there. Much better.
It started that way for Denise Rao.
We have a lot of camaraderie. There doesn't seem to be a lot of hyper competition between us. And what there is very friendly. We're helpful to one another.
She moved to Arizona from Michigan several years ago.
Just being here, I think even just the fact that we're in the Wild West sort of encourages that a little bit, the attitude. I think the very first time I realized I was in Arizona was walking into Bash's' and seeing someone with an open carry. I was a little bit taken aback, but no, not anymore. I'm very comfortable with it.
So comfortable, the pistol-packing grandma is on the range at least once a week, hoping she's always prepared to handle herself in a crisis.
Well, I don't think anybody ever feels totally comfortable, but I feel as though I could defend myself now, so I have more confidence in it. I just don't look forward to the idea of it.
But that center one. Yeah. What do you make of the scrutiny that surrounds guns and gun owners these days?
Probably that they've never needed to protect themselves or had the education of knowing what a firearm does. A lot of teaching that I do, mostly with couples, it might be a husband and a wife. Maybe the husband is into shooting, but she's not. But she wants to know, what does this thing do? Is it safe? I'll teach sometimes basics of how you load and unload a pistol, how to check if it's clear. For the women that have no desire, they just want to know what this thing does and is it safe around them. If you're going to own a firearm, it is your responsibility to learn how to safely and effectively use it. So a piece of paper, a CCW piece of paper, doesn't necessarily mean that you're ready to conceal carry. To tell you the truth, you know, if you're faced with a lethal encounter, it's terrifying. And you don't have time to think and go back over fundamentals of figure out how does this thing work. It needs to happen, you know, pretty automatic. So I think CCW should be mandatory, but I would also encourage people, if you're going to own a firearm, you have to train. I strongly believe that if you and I were to leave here today and face a lethal encounter, it should be our choice of how we choose to protect ourselves and our family. The other thing that I hope the public understands is my only responsibility as a gun owner and a concealed carry person is to protect myself and my kids. And, you know, I'm not there to protect the public. Beautiful. Slowly reholster.